And I am going to start sharing my screen. All right. So we're going to talk today a little bit about your customers and hopefully understand from their perspective sort of what are the questions they ask themselves, and how do they identify that they have a need or a pain point that your product or service can solve for them. And then we'll move on to talking about a marketing decision tool we'll share with you. So I have sent to everybody the customer journey map tool and the marketing decisions tool, as well as a starter of the customer journey mapping. And I will start talking about it, and it can be at times a little bit complex, but it's really a helpful tool for us to better understand who is my customer, why are they coming to me, and where do I find them, right? So that's really what we're going to try and address today. So let's get started. So what is a customer journey? We're going to talk about that. So 5 stages the customer moves through before and after they buy. Walk through how that map tool works, how to map each stage for your specific business. And like I said, I've sent you guys via email, and Tracy will follow up in Unsubmittable, both the tool and a starter. I call it the starter kit for y'all, to kind of see what we're looking for, what we're talking about. We're going to talk a little bit about what is the marketing activity decision tool, which is a score document, a score tool that helps us prioritize the marketing activities that make sense for you right now. We're going to walk through a fictional example of Soul and Seed Company, and see the tool completed for a real world style business. And then you guys get to kind of play with it a little bit and talk to me and others a little bit about it. All right? Okay. So let's get started with what is the customer journey? So every customer takes a path before and after they buy. You do it, I do it, we all do it. Every single one of us. And the path is that we're trying to identify, do we have a problem? And if so, what solutions are there for my problem? Or do I have a need? And what solutions are out there that exist for my need? Each one of us goes and compares different options. Now with the internet and even AI so readily available to us, we do a tremendous amount of research to try and identify which one is the best tool, best resource in terms of solutions or needs fulfillment that exists for me. And then once we have identified the one that we think would be the best product or service, we choose it and we become a customer of that particular brand. And then finally, after we've made that purchase, after the customer has made that purchase, hopefully they will love the experience and they will become your biggest advocate, right? They will become your champion. They will speak of you. They will tell everybody what a wonderful experience they've had. This is a great product or a great service, and that will help you organically continue to expand and grow your business, right? We all have gone through this process. And so understanding the path will help us develop our marketing plan and hopefully use that marketing decision tool to show up in the right places with the right message, right? So again, step 1 is problem. What is the unmet need or frustration we have? Exploration is stage 2. We discover solutions exist, including yours. Evaluation, kind of check out, comparing options, researching fit. We make a decision, which one is the one that should be, and then finally, they love it and hopefully tell others, right? So the goal for your marketing is to move people forward through each one of the stages. So For each one of the 5 stages in the customer journey map, you're going to come up with answers to 4 key questions. First stage is thinking. The first question is going to be around thinking. What is your customer thinking? Or what are they feeling at this stage, right? What is the key question? What question do they need answer before they'll move to the next stage in that process? Opportunity. What role can your business play in answering that question? And then touch points. What specific tactics or channels can you use to show up and engage with them, right? When we start working on the customer journey map, we're going to always start with thinking. If you really know what your customer is feeling at each stage, the rest of the row will flow pretty naturally after that. But that's really where we're going to start. All right. So let's show you one here that I've come up with. This is a fictional company. It doesn't exist. But I'm calling it Soul and Seed Company, which is a handcrafted herbal skincare. So we're going to start with problem. So I'm going to ask you guys, right? Problem, the first question is thinking. So if I go back, what is the customer thinking or feeling at this stage? Well, if I am selling a handcrafted herbal skincare, I'm going to think my customer is thinking their skin is dry, maybe even irritated, and maybe they've tried other products that have had really harsh chemicals and they just haven't worked for them, right? So then we move on to under problem still, because we're still trying to understand what is the mindset that my customer has, right? What is the mindset that my customer has? So I'm moving to what question do they need to answer before they can move on to exploration? So here, the key question for this particular problem is how do other people deal with sensitive skin? Right? So before they can move to exploration and identifying what options are out there, many of us, and again, this is something that we all go through as we experience the idea of who can best solve my problem? How can I best fulfill a need that I have? So the key question here is how do other people deal with sensitive skin? Again, we're looking at this through the eyes of my customer, not through my eyes, but through the eyes and mind of my customer. Still under problem, we say, well, the question then becomes under opportunity. What role can your business play in answering that question? So the customer is saying, how do other people deal with this? How can my product, handcrafted herbal skincare, Soul and Seed, answer that question? So we can relate to the frustration and share that our product is made 100% with natural alternatives, right? And the last one is touch points. So what specific tactics or channels can you use to show up and engage in that problem phase? Well, it could be for this particular product, Instagram Reels. It can be blog posts or Substacks, right? Showing them that, hey, there are signs your skin is fighting back, and our product is able to meet that problem that you're experiencing. Okay, I'm going to stop sharing here because I need to see you all. And I'm going to ask you questions because I send you all that very first column. So what are we thinking? What questions do we have?
You want to make sure that they know that it went to their email. And
Yes, I said.
hopefully they all
I'm
got
sorry, I didn't say
it.
that. I sent it to your guys' email, the email that you provided to us.
And sometimes TWU email goes to spam.
I know Tisha got it because she sent me an email back. So Tisha, let's start with you. I'm going to pick on you. I'm sorry, but I know you got it for sure. So let's start with you. That first problem column. How did that resonate with you? What resonated with you there? You're still muted.
I was very impressed with the start of this discussion. Thank you very much. We have a lot of opportunities, but one of the biggest opportunities, thinking through the customer's eyes, is, I just bought a piece of rural land. I came from the city. I had no idea that I had to get a water well. Usually I just pay a bill and the water just starts. So if I'm the customer, I'm thinking, well, what do I do? I'll go talk to my neighbor. What do they do for water? The person across the street. I'll call the city. So so yes, that I certainly value that starting point. Thank you.
And I think, thank you for sharing that. And I think for you, I also put together two because for you, I thought that there could potentially be more than one
Yeah.
customer, right?
Absolutely. There's the person that bought the land. There's the person who wants to sell the land and prove that there is water there to help their listing. There's the city municipality that their well it has been operating pretty well, pun intended, I guess, for the last couple of years. But it's starting not. It's not. It's starting to falter. Is it my well, or is the groundwater depleting? Maybe, how do I figure out what's going on down there before I spend a lot of money?
Right. So identifying, so the first step is really identifying that customer, right? Because there could be multiple customers
Yep.
that need a different customer journey
Yes.
because they're making a decision from a different perspective and value something different. And you
Absolutely.
happen to have one where you've already identified five. And so for you, it was a little bit easy just because I could kind of break it down. So
Yeah.
thank you. Thank you,
Sure.
Tisha. All right. Anybody else?
Yep. I'm on my husband's computer. So it's Kimmy, but I'm
Oh,
under
Kimmy.
share mode.
Yes.
And for some reason, it's telling me that I can't turn my video on because you guys have it enabled for, I don't know why.
Oh, that's odd because everybody
Because
else's
it's
video's on, but that's
disabled
okay.
by the host. Anyway, so I'm going to be Ghost Woman right now. And I think the the problem that, if you want to say it's a problem, that our customers are you know trying to solve when they come in our doors is like mementos, like finding
Mm-hmm.
something small for their vacation.
Mm-hmm.
Another problem could be that, like, they have a space on their wall and they want to fill it with art.
Mm-hmm.
Another problem could be that they have a gift, like a event coming up, and they want to purchase a gift for it. Um, Another problem could be that they don't know their town and they don't know their artist, and they're just trying to come in and see what's going on. Um, so I think, we approach all of those differently, and we always ask people, "Hey, have you been here? What are you here for? How can we help you?" And then if they have any interest in, if we notice them I try not to, like, I mean, I always kind of, you know, chit chat with people because I think that that's important to feel acknowledged and, like, always feel at home when you walk in a place. I love that. But I also think that, like, it's good to give them space to think, and, and then just chime in or talk about the artist, or for us, what really, really, really sells is stories. When you can tell someone a story about a piece of work, or a story about an artist, or a story about the piece, um, then they connect to it. And when they meet the artist, it's almost like inevitable that they buy something because they're like, oh my gosh, I didn't know I was going to meet an artist today, even though we all run the place and stuff like that. But that's not their mindset. So,
Yes. Yes. And so you bring up some key thoughts there. So there is multiple, for you, there's also multiple customers, and I kind of bundle them all into an art buyer or a gallery visitor. I put that together in one, and I put the other one into those that may be interested in the silversmithing workshops,
Right.
right? And so when we talk about for your particular product offering, your service offering, what are they thinking or feeling? You are absolutely right. Like those conversations are going to give you great insight into what is their thought process for coming in,
Hmm.
right? And many a times, as you stated, is there a gallery near me that feels, or that I can visit, that feels authentic, that feels local, right? When I
Hmm.
can actually meet the artist behind the
Yeah.
work, right? And then the opportunity for you, for Moon Over Water, is that right now, I don't know if I'm correct or incorrect, but I believe you may be one of the, if not the only gallery in Rockport that blends that fine art with the artisan market.
Yes, you are correct. And
And
now
so
we're out of
that's,
school, so that's like,
yeah. So
you know,
that's the opportunity under the problem component, right? Um,
mm,
so that's where your
yeah.
opportunity as a business lies. And then that then gives us the clarity of where can I find, where are the touch points where I can connect with those individuals,
Hmm.
if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you.
No, thank you for sharing. Barbara and Kay.
Well, uh, you've caught us with these tools that came in our email earlier this afternoon on one of the busiest days of the news cycle week, which is the day that we proof pages
and go to press.
and go to press. And we uploaded our last newspaper of the day just a few minutes before starting the Zoom. So we didn't have much time to look at those in advance. But one thing I noticed is that you already predicted two of the audiences that we would of course say are most important by pointing out readers and advertisers. So those are two very different audiences or markets that a newspaper has. But let's add another one because I think one of the biggest problems Kay and I have been in the middle of analyzing, and we are doing this with the benefit of some other business coaching right now already, is to figure out how to convert those loyal readers who say, I love my newspaper, and I'm so glad that my little hometown still has its historic newspaper, and we get it every week. We need to convert them into subscribers. We need to make subscribers, paying subscribers, out of readers, and we also need to convert more of our print subscribers into digital subscribers. I would say that's the number one problem that most newspaper publishers are facing these days is how to retain that loyal audience and make them into subscribers.
So what I'm going to thought process here for you is add one more, right?
Okay.
When you actually complete your customer journey, you'll add one more, and that is the description you've given me. And then I want you to walk through the questions that I've given you for each one, right? So that's what I'm going to ask you to do. I gave you that sort of the starter kit
Mm-hmm.
to show you what are the thoughts that I want you to have, because I want you to approach it from the perspective of your customer, right? What is that subscriber that currently has paper subscription?
Yeah, print.
What are their challenges, or what are their problems? What are their thinking process to shifting to a digital? And so that is kind of the work through that you'll have to put in to put yourself in their shoes, or you can also do customer discovery with them and sort of answer those questions in each one of the phases, but starting with that.
Yeah,
So
agreed.
again, gave you that starter kit to give you an idea of how does that process work with the thinking
Mm-hmm.
phase.
Yep.
So
Thank you.
great. All right. I'm going to move on. But if anybody else wants assistance or has questions about what I sent, please don't hesitate. Let me know. But I'm going to move on just for the sake of time. We'll have time at the end to answer questions. So I'm going to go back to sharing. Let's see here. Okay. So the second phase, right, that we are going to go through is exploration. So the customer has a problem. We've been able to communicate or identify our opportunity and utilize the touch points to let them know that we are a potential solution for their problem or a potential option for them to fulfill their need, right? So in the example I'm using here, in the thinking phase, again, the question in thinking is, what is your customer thinking or feeling during exploration? So my customer for Soul and Seed Company is thinking, are there natural options that actually work? Because I hear and I see all this all the time on social media and in other places of things that are natural, but I don't know if they work, right? I'm not sure. The next step is the key question. What question do they need answered before they can move to evaluating my product? Well, they probably would need to know exactly what's in my product. And is what in my product safe, right? So where does my opportunity lie? Pretty simple here. It's educating them on exactly what my product has, the clean ingredients it contains, and what makes herbal skincare different than other options of natural products, right? So what may be my touch points? Well, I may be able to do that through my website ingredient glossary. I may be able to do that through a YouTube demo video. I may be able to do that through an Instagram reel. There's multiple ways in which I can educate my customer on my product and the value of the product having clean ingredients and the difference between my product and what maybe a herbal skincare or a non-herbal skincare, natural non-herbal skincare maybe. All right, I'm going to again stop and I'm going to ask questions because I want to make sure you guys understand, because the thought is that you guys are going to complete the customer journey tool, mapping tool. So I want to address any questions before, and you're going to get the slides, so don't worry about that. We good? All right. No questions. I'll continue then. Oh, I see one hand. Hold on.
So, so are you saying that like the touch points of the problem is what makes the customer keep journeying into the exploration? Okay. Okay. Oh, you're muted.
What are the touch points that are going to help the customer move from one phase to the next one to the next one?
Got it. Okay.
So those are the touch points. Yes.
Thank you.
Thank you for making that point. Okay. All right. So the third phase is evaluation. So now my customer has found some options and I have 3 or 4. They all look really good. How do I choose? Right? That's what I'm thinking at this phase. So what is the key question is, how is Soul and Seed different from others that I have seen? Right? What's the differentiator between the other 2 or 3 in Soul and Seed? So the opportunity for me is to position my product with a unique story, right? Somebody, Kimmy, said it's so important to have those stories. Yes, it is. It is. That is in the evaluation phase, how we can get customers to understand the value and how our product is the best fit for is the problem or their need, right? So for me, it would be highlighting that it's made in small batches, it's local, Texas grown herbs, and there is no fillers. That would be how I would need to convey that to win them, to influence them to move to the next phase of decision making. So we can do that. I can do that through side-by-side comparisons on a website. I can do that if I have already a customer that maybe has reached out or messaged me by doing that. I can do, again, a welcome series if I have a blog or a Substack that I can utilize. So there's multiple ways. These are just some examples, but it is all about that evaluation. Now I'm trying to influence their purchasing behavior so that they can make a decision to pick my product. Questions? All right. Then we move on to decision. Again, what is my customer thinking or feeling during this particular phase? Well, they may be thinking Soil & Seed looks very promising and I want to try it. Right? Maybe I've done a really good job with my side-by-side comparisons in highlighting, telling the story that this is, small batch Texas grown herbs and no fillers. And they're saying, okay, let's try it. So key question, what do they need to have answered before they pull the trigger? What do I need to do to order? And what should I expect? Oftentimes, entrepreneurs do a really good job of helping the customer complete the order or the sale. What we oftentimes maybe forget to do and not do as well is what should they expect? You and I would have expectations of purchasing a product. So I would need to be able to communicate to them, how they will get the product, how time frame, will it be shipped? What method of shipping will I use? All packaging, all that. So the opportunity for me is to make the purchase experience simple, right? The less clicking that somebody has to do, in this case, they would be buying probably from my website. The less clicking they have to do, the happier the customer is going to be, because if we make them click too many times, they're going to go, oh my gosh, how many things do I have to click on in order to purchase this product? If you can do a personal note upon the completion of the order, again, that's part of the storytelling. It's about the fact that this is a unique product, something to that effect. Make it personal. And then the reassurance that this is a small batch. It's going to be Texas grown herbs. It's going to be something that is going to really be clean ingredients to help your dry skin. And there is no harsh chemicals. And the touch point is in this, once we get to decision, is really the exit. How quickly can I check out? How simple it is. You can do that, those handwritten notes. If you've ever ordered from like an Etsy or other types of smaller selling sites, oftentimes they send that with the product. And then what is going to be their experience when they open up that box with my product? That's also part of the touch point in the decision process. Okay, I'm going to stop again. Questions? Okay. And then the last point, the last phase is advocacy. Again, thinking, what is the customer thinking of feeling? Hopefully they're feeling that the product has changed their routine for the better. And everybody I know needs to know about this. That's really what we hope. The key question they would be asking or that they need to answer, how do I easily share this with someone who would love it? Right? And so that's where your social media handles, that's where helping them make those connections so that they are able to share, tagging your brand, those are the kinds of things that you're going to be able to provide in the opportunity. That's where the opportunity lies, creating an easy, rewarding referral experience. And then potentially, having a referral code in packaging, having that tag us social prompt that I talked about. Whatever it is that may work to help them feel that you value the fact that they selected your product or your service, and that you're wanting them to continue to come back time and time again to you and to your product. All right, I'm going to stop before I move on to the next tool. Stop sharing and see if I have any questions or any thoughts from anybody out there. Does it make sense to you guys? Yeah? Yes, Ruth, go ahead and unmute yourself.
Yes, it does make sense. It's interesting because you have a platform that is trying to fit every one of our different businesses. And so I've got to curtail it to my specific needs. And so there's a lot of things, even though I have a blanket order, I can't really, contact the state agencies for solicitation, so to speak.
Right.
But there's a lot, for example, the personal note at the end, that's really important. And that helps me appreciate that the email we sent with their paid invoice, we add a little note on it. I'll probably make that a little bigger note. And then also their experience when they get the final product. Unfortunately, that's in the hand of the suppliers. But there's a lot of great information here, and I can certainly curtail it to what I do. So thanks.
But yeah, for you, it's a B2B. You're doing a technically B2G, right? A business to government. That's who your client, your audience is. So you're going to have some restrictions, but I still think that within those restrictions, how can they choose you as the provider of choice? That's the goal, ultimately.
Absolutely. And I think that first and foremost, because I never meet any of my clients, unfortunately, they don't walk in the stores like some of you guys, you get to meet your clients. And I love meeting people. But I believe how important it is to have that phone voice. We've built this company over 13 years, never met anyone in person, but I've had conversations about their kids. They're now in college and all this kind of stuff. So it's really important to have that personal contact with them because that's all we have. That's what kind of pulls us instead of them going somewhere else.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Any other thoughts? Anything else I can offer in terms of guidance or opportunity or explanation? All right. So like I said, I've sent it to everybody, but I want to make sure that you all have seen the actual tool that I sent out. I'm going to share that. And it's an Excel spreadsheet. And again, it has each one of the customer journey stages. And then within the stage, it has each of the questions that I've walked you through. Okay. I also have an overview and instructions tab. So if you get a little bit lost or you're not sure, there's that. And then there's an example that is provided as well. And you'll have the slides as well. But it's the template that is the most important because I think, and Christina, you please join in. I think that this tends to be one of the biggest challenges that we sometimes experience, whether we're starting or whether we're adding a new product, and maybe that product line or service line is to serve a different customer, or maybe like some of you have multiples. And so understanding how do I reach each one of those multiples, because they're not all the same and they all cannot be reached in the same manner, becomes really important. Christina, any thoughts on that?
Yeah, I'm so glad you said that. I was thinking the same thing too. What happens if your customer changes? Or maybe your customer is evolving. And this plan that you have right here, this layout is really cool because it also reflects the 5 stages of the marketing funnel. So you're building
Yes.
awareness, then we're trying to get consideration, and then we're getting decision, and then we're getting loyalty. And I know, I think it was Barbara or someone talked about loyalty, and I was thinking about that when you were speaking. That's what we really want. We want loyal customers. So I think this is a really good exercise. Even though all of you are established businesses, I think that the environment might change, and that might drive a change on this document. And I think it's really good to go through it to see what's still accurate and real and what may be something on the horizon you have to address.
Um, I really like it. I think whenever you think about rental equipment, you think contractors, new businesses coming up. But as Joe was speaking, I was remembering that we had an artist, because every corner you turn here in Marfa, there's a gallery. And we've had artists say, I need to rent your scissor lift because I've got to put up this big sculpture, or I got to hang this and I have to hang that. So I think us in this business, we kind of need to focus, like contractors are everywhere also. So I think focusing on maybe like the galleries and advertising more to them and opening that up would be good for us. So I did, until Joe was speaking, I thought, wait a minute here. We have galleries all over. So I think we also need to broaden our specs.
Yes, I think that's an excellent point. And I think that that's what the tool also allows you to think through. How do I expand my customer base? Right? And what are the thoughts that I have to consider to reach them, to connect with them? Because at the end of the day, it's that connection, right? If they see you addressing a need, a want, or a problem that they have, you're opening, they're saying, okay, this is my solution right here. This is it. Because they're addressing exactly what I've been experiencing. So when we look at it from the perspective of that customer's thought process and their experiences as they go from phase to phase,
Yeah.
all of a sudden we become the provider that they choose,
Yes.
the solution that they select.
And their needs may be a little bit different from what a contractor would ask for. The municipalities, our county, so those agencies that they're just that they need these kind of things, but they just might be a little bit different, and that's okay. So
Yeah. Thank you for adding that. That is excellent. Anyone else that I can answer any questions for before we move on? Okay.
Well, I'll let you know real quick. I sent these out to everybody, so they're in submittable as well. There was a couple issues with a few of them where their personal one would not download. All of the first 6 did, and then I couldn't. But I told them to check in their email that you had sent for those, or we can send them differently later.
Thank you, Tracy. Appreciate that. So now that we know where our customer is, what they're thinking, right? How to address them and how to move them from that phase to phase to phase to phase. The next question becomes, what marketing activities should I use to reach them, right? So how am I going to create a plan that is going to help me get to them? So when we think about marketing encompasses a whole lot of different activities that we can take advantage of. But each business of yours, it's going to need a little bit of a different marketing activity because your customers are going to be different, right? So what the tool will do and will help you do is sort of organize the different marketing ways in which you can market your business into 5 categories. So the tool provides a section for digital. So that would include websites, emails, search engine optimization, SEOs, social media, online ads, videos, podcasts, webinars, right? Then it has the print categorized together. So those would be business cards, flyers, brochures, direct mail, postcards that you send out. In the case of Barbara and Kay, it's their actual, product is part of their marketing, right? Then there is a category for traditional. So customers of Barbara and Kay would hopefully take advantage of the traditional local publications, local signage, billboards. I know that sounds outdated, but in many cities and towns, that's still something that serves businesses well. And TV and broadcast, local TV, local broadcast. The next category that it offers is events. So those would be networking events, community events, trade shows, open houses. And then last but not least would be under other branding, your logo design, any brand visual guidelines that you all have, which are your foundation for then everything else that you have. You don't need to do all of these. You just need to identify what are the right ones. And we do that in our touch point section of our customer journey map. Which ones are the right ones at the right time for my business? Because they are dependent upon your customers' wants, needs, and the questions that we've identified they have, right? That is how we're going to sort of put this together. So, how the activity decision tool works. For each activity you want to consider, you rate it on 4 factors. Factor number 1 is priority. How important is this activity for reaching my target customer? High would be 100, medium would be 40, low would be 20. The second factor is difficulty. How hard would it be for me to execute this marketing activity? Do I have the skills? Do I have the time? If easy, the score would be around 25. If moderate, 15. If hard, 10. The next factor is cost. What is the financial investment that is required to engage in this activity, in this marketing activity? Is it cheap? 25 points. Moderate, 15. Expensive, 10. And then the timing factor. Is this going to be something that I can set up one time and it's done? Or is this something that I'm going to have to continuously keep up with? And some of those digital marketing activities are going to require you to keep up with them. So considering that, then if it's just a one-time upfront, it's a 25 points. And if it's going to be an ongoing, it's going to be 35. The tool is going to sum up your scores and it's going to rank the activities by total score for you. And what that is going to offer you is a prioritized, personalized action list. Okay. So I am going to stop sharing and I'm going to share the tool so that you all can see it. Even though I've sent it to you, like I said, and Tracy, I think, has added it also. But I want to walk you guys through it so that you understand sort of what I'm referring to. All right, so I'm going to start. The first tab is always instructions, right? So it walks you through what I just walked you through in terms of the different factors: priority, difficulty, cost, and timing. And this is what it looks like blank. It lets you input the scores, high, medium, low. So as long as you don't touch this, you should be okay, because it's set up so that all you have to do is decide what is the level you are going to give that particular factor. If you do that, the yellow columns automatically create the scores for you. So in that sense, the tool is pretty simple. So once you decide, let's see that building a website for my business is moderate in terms of cost, in terms of difficulty, it's going to be hard for me. In terms of priority, it's high. And in terms of timing, I think that it's going to be just an upfront thing. See, it automatically creates the score for you. And because I haven't done anything else with it, it's ranking it as number one, right? So I've given also examples for a B2B and a B2C because we have different businesses, right? So if you're running a business to consumer, this would be an example you can follow. So they have a website or a blog post on my website, collect email addresses to promote the business, send a regular email update, create a LinkedIn profile, boost content ads on social media, host webinars to educate potential clients, create and update a YouTube page, design and run an ad on YouTube. They didn't choose that. Let's see. Record and share video cast, business cards, brochures. So it just goes on and it goes ahead and it scores it for you. And then it tells you that based on your priority, difficulty, cost, and timing, your number one priority should be to sign up and attend networking events. And then you can determine, well, what would that look like? Can I do that in the next 3 months? Will it take me longer? So on and so forth. Priority number 2 is design and print business cards. And again, this is something that you determine based on what you consider to be priority, difficulty, cost, and timing. So this is trying to help you do is say, now that I know my customer, what they're thinking, what they're feeling, what are the questions that they need answer, I've identified my opportunity to provide answers to those questions, and I have identified the touch points that I think are the best touch points to provide those answers to them, to reach the customer, then how do I go and execute that utilizing the different types of marketing activities that are available to me? Okay, so I'm going to stop sharing and I'm going to ask if there are any questions, because that one is a little bit more complex. They're both complex, but this one sometimes tends to throw us for a little bit of a loop. Again, you're completing it, so you're determining the priority. You're determining whether or not it's something that is cost effective. What is the cost benefit for you? What is the difficulty and what is the timing? You're doing that because nobody knows your business better than you. Ruth.
Does it matter if we skip some columns? Because some of the items we could still get an accurate score. Okay.
It still will evaluate the level of ranking. Any other thoughts or questions? Do you think this can help you guys?
Absolutely. I think it's incredible. Thank you very much for pulling all this together.
Yeah, I find it really useful when talking to clients, entrepreneurs like yourselves, to kind of help us get focused, right? Because marketing can be overwhelming, particularly if you don't like marketing or if you're not used to doing marketing. There's so many different ways in which you can do marketing. And so it can be overwhelming. But if we understand who my customer is, what are the touch points I want to reach them through, then it becomes a way to focus and more effectively spend my limited time as a business owner, because it's limited, if I'm the one doing all this marketing activities. So it helps me really narrow my focus and hopefully helps me prioritize. Okay, the first thing I'm going to focus on is this over the next 3 months. Then after that, it's going to be this. Rather than trying to be all things to all people in terms of marketing. right? We often think we have to be in every marketing activity. We don't. That would be, I would want to shoot myself if I had to do every marketing activity. We want to understand. That's why I gave you the customer journey map first, because once I get those answers, then I can really narrowly focus on where do I go to maximize connecting with that customer. That's my ideal customer. Barbara?
So we like this a lot. Kay and I have had a tool that we've used over the years that is a word table, and just being able to organize your marketing plans by topic, and then see action items and a date. It's just very simple. But we've never had anything that does the calculation and assigns the priorities for you. So would if there are activities in there that are not applicable to us necessarily, is it possible to just change the text in one of those cells and substitute another activity that may be applicable to our situation?
You can actually, in the tool, there is a whole list of column or rows 42 through 48 or add other activities here. So you
Okay.
can just add them. And it's already, the
Okay.
formula's
And it'll
already
still
created.
and those will still have the calculation cells in place and everything. Okay.
Yes.
Terrific.
Yes. Because we understand that every business is different and every business is going to have a different marketing activity that we may not have thought of.
Okay, gotcha.
Yeah.
I have a question. In your
Yes.
experience, Lourdes, how much time do you allot to get the feedback from your efforts? Because you may think your audience is one way, but actually your results are telling you something else. Maybe it's this audience that I should really be focused on. So how long, especially with digital, and is it 3 months? Is it 6 months? What is your thought there?
I think that each business is going to have a little bit of a different answer depending on their customer. But I think that between 3 and 6 months is your telltale. I think that some in digital, you can actually find out in less than 3 months. Digital gives you a very quick response. Digital marketing does. But the others, your brochure, your networking events, those are your building relationships that may take time for you to fully see the ROI on those efforts, right? But I think that you, at least most of us, will get a good sense within that 3 to 6 month mark. But again, I would argue that the digital gives you a little bit of a quicker feedback. Christina, Tracy?
I agree with that. I think on the digital side that we got to see how big, how many people are you touching? I think on the digital, if you're, if we were trying to make an assessment in 30 days. When I think about your product, Tisha, I mean, you're very specific.
Mm-hmm.
Your product is very specific. So you could be a leader in this, you probably are a leader in this industry, and people are reaching out to you, even from overseas. I had the chance to read your application. So to me, you have niched down so well.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing. You want to niche down so well, and you've obviously done that. So I think you're okay. I agree with the 30 days. But you'd have to have, I think, a full court press and how many people, then you'd have to not fool around, but look at how many clicks, how many click throughs, all of that kind of stuff, how many, eyes looked at
Inquiries.
it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
that's the thing on that. If you kind of wanted to maybe just it's like taking the temperature, for, in 1 month and see, how many people you impact or how many people get your message. So yeah, I mean, I think the 3 to 6 makes sense. But again, how big is the group you're meeting in the 30-day time frame
Thank
on the
you.
digital?
Thank you.
I like those numbers too, that you had there as well. And so I think again with those touches, those are great numbers to kind of look at to see if it's being effective for you and your business.
Thank you.
Yeah, and also you have to think that if I'm new in the market, right? And it's something that the customers have never thought of as an answer to their problem or have never experienced, it's gonna take education. Education takes time,
Mhm.
right? If you're introducing a new solution, a new product, a new service that is not well known, that people are not as familiar, because again, let's put ourselves in those shoes as customers. I gotta trust you. If I'm asking you to come and do this work for me, I gotta trust you. So you got to build that trust. So in that sense, it could take you 6 months before you hear back from a customer.
That's great insight. Thank you.
Hmm.
It's also if it's a one-time thing or something else for people, some of these are very expensive. May take a lot longer to have the impact as well.
Yes. Yes, absolutely. That's a good point.
Yeah, for Maribel, for example, um, hers is going to be immediate feedback because she has a store. When we go shopping, right? And again, all of us probably have had that experience. We go shopping if we know she gets the feedback immediately if people are buying it or not buying it. If people are saying, "Oh, don't you have this?" or "I wish you had that," right? It's an immediate. But many of us, like Ruth said, we don't have that luxury in our product or service offering. Um, Kimmy may have the same issue. She may have some aspect of hers is immediate feedback, but some it takes, you know, building that trust, developing the relationship, connecting with people, helping them see the value, especially the workshops, I would say. That's going to be part of that process for Kimmy and her partner in identifying, right? How do I develop that relationship to bring people in to my workshops? Any other thoughts or comments or questions? All right, so I'm going to walk you really quickly through one last example, and or with that tool, and hopefully, gotta make sure I'm sharing the right thing. Okay, so walk you through this. So again, this is, the six selected activity score for a B2C handcraft skincare brand. That's my Soul and Seed company. So for me, design the logo, create and update an Instagram page, sign up and attend networking events, build the website, design and print my business cards, collect email addresses. So you see the ranking there. I have 2 number 1s, 2 number 2s, a number 3 and a number 4, and then the time frame. Right? So for Soul and Seed, the prioritization is brand identity, and that's what I was going for, and visibility first. Then I moved on to relationship building, excuse me, and digital presence over time. So again, it's also from the activity decision tool, the thought process for you is what are the things that I really want to accomplish with my marketing, because marketing for the sake of marketing is not effective. That's another potential challenge that entrepreneurs have, that they just think, well, I'm just going to build my marketing or do this for my marketing, these activities for my marketing. If I don't have clarity around what is it that I am wanting my marketing to accomplish, then I won't know if my marketing is effective, right? So building that brand identity as a business, as just getting started, that's what's important. In developing that visibility of my product, and then developing the relationship components through the website and through the networking events. Those are things that I'm trying to get out there. So that's also something that's important. So how do the two tools work together? The customer journey map reveals what your customer is thinking and feeling. It identifies the questions that need answered at each one of the stages. It shows us where and how to engage with the customer. And it defines the role that our brand plays in that conversation, that our product or service offering plays in that conversation. Then I can move on to the activity decision tool, which takes the touch points from my journey map, scores them on priority, difficulty, cost, and timing, creates that ranked action list tailored to your stage, whichever stage you're in or you're wanting to focus on, and then gives you hopefully a realistic sequence marketing plan, right? So that the tool, the customer journey map, gives us customer insight or helps us develop customer insight. And the activity decision tool provides us with a prioritized marketing roadmap that we can easily follow. So the last thing are some things to watch out for that sometimes entrepreneurs, we try to do. Trying to do everything at once, right? The scoring tool is designed to help you prioritize. Start with high impact, low cost activities and build from there, right? So don't try again to do everything because you will not be successful. You'll just get frustrated with it. Tracy touched on this yesterday, assuming everyone is your customer. That's not the case. The better approach is use your journey map only works if you're mapping one specific group of customers or segmented customers with each journey map. So go back to your ideal customer profile and write for that particular customer. So as we've talked already, some of you may have multiples. So your customer journey map is going to be one for each one of those groups. But try to group them, right? And again, identify who are the ideals. Those are the ones I'm going to go after first. Who are the ones that can potentially bring forth the best potential for revenue? Those are the ones I'm also going to focus on. Skipping the advocacy stage is something that sometimes entrepreneurs try to do because they said, well, I've already sold it. You know, they've made the decision. They've selected my brand, my product, my service. The best marketers are happy customers. That word of mouth can't not beat, you know, every other activity that you engage in. So don't just build a plan or think it only through the sales stage. Think about those referrals. Think about the repeat business. Think about people that are going to speak about your business. Really, really important. And then lastly, selecting activities that don't match your stage. So a billboard might score high on priority, but low on cost and timing. But let the total score guide you, not just what looks exciting or easy. It has to be like a holistic approach to using that tool. So customer journey map, choose one specific target customer, map all 5 stages, open the activity decision tool, select your initial activities and rate each one on all four factors, and then look at your top rank activities and identify what would be my first 3 actions, each with a realistic start date. Is all I've got for you all today. Questions? Good? Everybody's good? So you're going to be able to do your customer journey map and your marketing activity decision tool? All right, Christina and I are looking forward to seeing those. If you run into any questions or problems, please reach out. We are happy to help you work through or think through. Yes, Ruth.
I was a few minutes late. I had trouble logging into that link. The second link didn't work. I had to find the other email. But did I miss the part as to when you want these back?
I have not said that.
Okay, then I didn't miss it.
So you did not miss it at all. Not miss it at all. I'm thinking that at the time that you submit your cash flow, and Christina's going to walk you through your cash flow, you get those to us too. You get these to us. So for each one of you, it could be a different timing, right? So there's not going to be an exact date. Each one of you submits your cash. There's a deadline. I would be remiss if I don't tell you there's a deadline, because Tracy will tell you there is a deadline. But each one of you may complete it quicker than others, right? And submit it. So, but again, if you have any questions, happy to work with you. That's what we're here for.
And again, I know some of you have had a busy day and everything else and just really haven't had a chance to really dig into it. But I think once you get started, it'll be exciting for you too to see and think in different ways about your business and who your customers are and how you can really reach them. So I would think within a few weeks or a month, you should have this finished, because it's really a tool for you to help increase your business. But of course, I know you'll be out spending money too, right? Okay. Thank you, Lourdes. That was really good, and it's a great way for people to look at things in a different way than maybe we normally would. We would say, "Hey, these are our customers," or "These are it," but this really helps you drill it down and know what they're looking for, et cetera. So we appreciate that. All right. Are there any basic questions? We're going to end early tonight. But if there's any questions on anything, always feel to reach out. Our main form of communication is through Submittable. We get messages every time something comes in there. And just for consistency's sake, we like to keep it in there. So if something comes up as you're going along or you have a question on something, you feel free to reach out and we'll get back to you and help you on that. All right, tomorrow's the last evening. So
Christina, Tracy, Christina, you want to do a quick preview of tomorrow?
There you go.
I don't have a lot of slides, maybe 10 or so, but we're going to go over foundationally some things on cash flow. Many of you already have a process in place. Great. If you don't, no problem. We also have, I'll share our live plan, and I also have a simplified cash flow worksheet. So we'll have that. I don't think I'll send it ahead of time. I don't think I need to do that in this case, because I really just want to talk through more conceptually what we need to be looking for on the cash flow, what to anticipate, those kinds of things. And then, the one activity that obviously we will ask you to do is to, at some point, in the next 30 days or whatever, a 3-year projection, cash flow projection. But the most important thing is that it needs to be realistic. It does not need to be perfect, because we know it's a projection, but we want you to use what you have right now, or the last 6 months already. We're in the middle of the year already. And we want to see what the impact of the $10,000 investment is going to be on your cash flow. And so it will walk, maybe there's some scenarios, there's things that we can talk about. That's why I'm trying to read up on all your businesses to get an understanding of where all of you are. And so I think it'll be just a good time to just think about it. And that's what I think is the most important thing. You're getting this money. How are we investing it? So we're going to realize growth downstream. And that's kind of what we want to focus on tomorrow. Thank you.
So they also have this at Sol Ross. So those of you working there, and it was funny because I was talking to her. She said, "We have a different one we work on." I'm like, "Is that ours?" And she said, "Yeah, I think it is yours." So they have the same one for those of you that are working with them there. But we're just doing this to kind of help you through. And really, with the simplified one, is so logical. I think that it will be easy for you to work through that. And again, we just want to know how the 10,000 is affecting businesses and help you grow and get new customers. And
Tracy,
you learn that new skill if you haven't been doing it already.
Tracy, I do have a question. Yesterday you talked about if if something is going to change in ways what we submitted we were going to use our money for, what if we're getting the almost the same machine but a different vendor? Do we also need to let you know that we're changing vendor?
It's fine if it's
I'm having a hard time getting hold of the vendor that sent us the first quote. So I don't know if they sold it, and she's like, so do you want an email letting you know like which vendor we're
If
going
it
to use?
changes much, send it. If it's pretty much the same thing, you can send it the other end too when you send in the receipts. You
Okay.
could just put this was a better deal or something. But I mean, if you're changing from a camera to a fixture or something
Yeah.
very different, we want to know. But if it's very close like that, you're fine.
But what about like the total opposite vendor? Like we got a vendor out of San Antonio and they're not answering anymore, so we're looking towards El Paso. Do you want to know if there's a vendor change?
It's okay if you do that. If it's basically you're getting the same thing from somebody else, that's fine.
All right, perfect.
But again, like if you're really changing from one thing to another, then definitely check. And again, I don't believe I've ever said no in over 8 years of grants or so. Okay. All right. Anyone else? Any just basics on the grant? All right. Well, I think we can say good night for tonight. Ruth, you said that second link didn't work for Zoom because we're using the
It did
same one.
not. I
Huh.
went back to the first email. The
Okay.
second one kept saying, whoops, something, something. And I said, took me.
Okay.
So no, you might want to look at
Okay.
that.
Well, glad you made it. All right. Well, we'll see everyone, same link tomorrow night, and then that will be the last night of our trainings. Lourdes, did you have anything to add?
I will say goodbye because my accelerator in Spanish is tomorrow. We meet Thursday evenings. So it's been a pleasure getting to know each one of you and your businesses. I am happy to that you all are recipients of our grant and excited to see all the great things you all accomplish. And so if there's anything I can do to support you, please don't hesitate to reach out.
Thanks.
you.
Good night, everyone.
Good night.
Thank you.